for the boys.
Woo! Oh, I fucked.
What's going on, guys? So welcome back to another video. It's been a hot minute since I've done an install video, and this one has been done before. I mean, by YouTubers. LA Tommy did it probably, I don't know, maybe last year sometime, maybe a little bit longer than that even. But today I'm going to be changing out the inner and outer tie rods on my Integra. So if you don't watch my channel regularly and you're just swinging by to check out the video, I have a 92 Acura Integra LS. And my inner rods are totally shot. They haven't been changed since I've owned the car because I'm a dummy. But my outer tie rods are starting to get a little bit loose on me. So I'm going to just swap them all out, and I'm going to take you guys along with me and show you how you're supposed to do it. So I'm just grabbing the tools that I need right now. So I'll lay those out in a sec so you can see. And there's a specialty tool you need. You need I think it's called a Pitman, but Pitman inner tie rod puller tool. It's basically, in theory, a really long socket with lots of multiple size pieces at the end of it. But yeah, I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so first things first, obviously get the car jacked up and get it on jack stands, pop your front wheels off. But before I even do anything, a really unsmart thing to do is work in a white shirt. So I am going to change shirts really quick. Alright, so obviously change shirts. Alright, so let me show you what you're going to need. So right off the bat, obviously you need the tie rod ends. So this one is going to be an outer. So there you go. Yours may or may not have the Zerk fittings, which is where you fill it with the grease or whatnot. So I noticed that since mine are just the Master Pro O'Reilly's ones, yeah, they're okay quality, but they have lifetime warranties, so not too worried about it. I've used them for the last few years, never had any issues. So one of them does have a Zerk fitting, and then this one being, I believe, the driver's side does not. So there you go. So you're going to need some of those. And then you're going to need your inner tie rod too. So that's what that looks like right here. And then you're also going to need some boots to go with this. Now my boots, they forgot to order them when I was there earlier. So those aren't going to be here for a couple of hours, but I'm going to at least get this part done and get it all started, and then go pick up the boots when I need to. Alright, so here's basically all the tools you're going to need. A set of sockets, because depending on what bolts you have on there, most of them on Hondas, like the tie rod end bolt, are the cast on that are going to be like a 16 or something, but if you use aftermarket auto parts store parts, it might be a different size. So just a set of sockets, a breaker bar, and a 19 to get your lug nuts off, and then obviously a ratchet to break it loose, impact driver if you have it, and then dikes to pull the cotter pins out, and then obviously some gloves because it's going to be a little bit of a mess. So I'm using gloves because I don't want to get my camera all covered in filth, but you don't have to. And then obviously the parts, and let's get it up in the air now. Oh yeah, and here's that special tool you need. This is the inner tie rod puller. So this is what it looks like, this big old thing. And then you got all these little attachments that you just stick inside here, and it locks in place, and then you just use it and put it in there and turn it. But I'll show you how to do that later once we get to that point. Alright, so we're going to start off with loosening up the lug nuts before we jack the car up, because I always make the mistake of getting the car in the air and then having to fight to get these lugs loose. So I'm going to make sure I do it first this time since I'm filming it. Alright, so now obviously jack it up. Alright, gotta get us some jack stands too, so alright, now let's go over and do the other side. Alright, so get some gloves on, because this is where it starts to get dirty. So then you want to obviously get your lug nuts off. Pop that wheel off. Just gotta set this aside. There you go. And those are, if you don't already know, which it should be obvious, those are Enkei RPF ones. 16 by 7 with positive 43 offset. So here's what I'm working with. Pretty dirty up in here, but it all works good. Minus these tie rods. Well, this tie rod's still nice and solid, so I don't know. I'll change it out just so it's new anyway. Alright, so before I do any work, I'm gonna loosen up my hub, because last time I got in alignment before I did any of this, my steering wheel wasn't set straight because the alignment shop that did it was a bunch of busters. So this time, I'm gonna offset it, because right now where it sits, if I make left-hand turns, the blinker doesn't shut off after the turn, and if I make right-hand turns, it shuts off too early because it's just not centered on the rack or whatever. So I'm gonna undo this and cock it to the left a little bit, so that way when I do my alignment, it'll be okay. All right, so we're gonna start off with the driver's side over here. So let's just get our tools ready. All right. All right, so in my case, my outer tie rod bolt is a 16, so break it loose. Okay, got the bolt right there. Now for this piece, you can just smack it with a hammer unless you have either a pickle fork or a ball joint separator. That's really up to you what you want to do there, but I mean, I'm gonna just smack it with a hammer because that always works for me. All right, so you can just turn the rotor or turn the hub a little bit, but a few good smacks right there on the joint with the hammer, and should pop right out. All right, so just like that. Now it's now the outer joint is loose. All right, so now that you got the tie rod end loose, you can go ahead and just place it back there, because now you're gonna have to unlock this or loosen up this back nut, the locking nut on it. So you can use, I don't know what size wrench it is, but I just use a adjustable wrench and it works just fine for me. So just gotta smack it loose. All right, so just like that. Now you can just back it off, and you can just unscrew the tie rod, bring it right out. All right, so there we go. We have this one off. Actually, you can see my boot right here was kind of starting to tear. So I don't know how much longer this one had in it, but like I said, this one is also a Master Pro, so I'm gonna just go get this one warrantied out anyway. And most people are gonna tell you to count the number of threads that you put back on. If you're changing just the outer one, yes, do that. You can do that for changing out both of them, but honestly, I'm just gonna eyeball it the best I can. With the new tie rods in, both inner and outer, I'm gonna eyeball the alignment just so I can get over to the alignment shop. But normally, if you're just changing the outers, make sure you count how many threads back you took off, or you count how many threads you did to take the tie rod off. So that way you can put it back and be as close to the alignment as you were before. All right, so you really can't see it on the camera, but you're gonna, since my boot's all torn, normally you're gonna have to cut your boot off, since you're gonna have to replace them anyway to access this. But my boot's torn, so if you feel around back here, you'll be able to feel where the notches are for the tool. So I'm gonna go grab that and try and find the right adapter for that. But in essence, you basically just slide the tool over it like this, and then just use it as a big socket. So now you're gonna basically just crack the inner tie rod loose, which I already went ahead and did. And mine was a struggle, and I'll show you why here in just a second. But all right, so this is, I'm assuming, the OEM tie rod, and the inner tie rod, I'm sorry, and you can tell that it's completely different. Like, it's the same style or base style as the as this one, but on this one you can clearly see, the aftermarket one, you can clearly see where the tool is supposed to go. The OEM one, you cannot tell where the tool is supposed to go. It's basically like this little notch right here. And I ended up using a pipe wrench, but you just got to make sure, because you can see the washers on here. So the new tie rod comes with a washer. Make sure you use it. But yeah, it's pretty much as simple as that. And you can see they're pretty much dead equal on length. So this should be good. So I'll just screw this one back in, and then actually I gotta go get the boot first. So I'll get the boot, I'll screw this one in, and I'll throw the boot on, and then we'll catch up with you guys then, and we can put the outer tie rod on too. Alright, so here we go. These are the washers that came with a new one. So Alright, so here's the new washers. Not really sure what this one is for, but we'll figure it out. Alright, pretty sure it goes like that, so we'll assume it goes like that. Alright, so here it is, new one, and it's got the special washer, and then the other washer has a slight curve to it, so gonna want to make sure the flat side is to the tie rod itself. And we're just gonna go ahead and screw this back in here. And this one, being the driver's side, is gonna spin in clockwise, so I already got my size. This one is 1 13/16. So I'm gonna grab your tool here, your tie rod puller, and it just drops right in here. Kind of loads up like a bazooka or something. You turn that, and then you basically just shove it over and lock it in there. Now you just crank it down. Try and thread it all the way in and get it as tight as you can. So we're gonna need a 1/2-inch breaker bar, so I got that right over here. All right. All right. I don't know the actual torque specs on this, but just like everything else suspension wise, you don't need it too crazy tight, just good and tight. So alright, just like that, we got ourselves a new inner tie rod. Now I'm gonna go make sure I get my boots and boot it up. So I'm gonna go grab those quick, and I'll set those up. Basically, the new ones don't come with the metal clamps, so these ones do. They're just gonna come with some zip ties. You just slide it over, zip tie it, and then use your dikes or wire cutters to trim the zip tie, obviously. And then for the outer tie rod, same as before, just thread it back on, but I'll show you that. Alright, so now that you got your tie rod here, I'm going to just, like I said, do this for demonstration purposes. And I don't know why O'Reilly's does this, but you can see here that this is the driver's side, the left side, and it's got a nylon locking nut for the nut. Normally, it's going to have a castle nut and a cotter pin, but this one works just as good since it is nylon locking. And you just make sure you got your backing nut on there to lock the outer tie rod in place. And being as this is the driver's side, it goes on clockwise. And you just thread it in place just like this. So keeps it nice and simple, and you just thread it in, and then obviously you just kind of eyeball it as best as you can. You can use string or whatever you use to do your DIY alignments, whatever, until you can go get a real alignment. So yeah, we'll just throw that back in here. Say we'll just leave it right there just like that, and then you would put your bolt back on, and then tighten that all down, and then put your wheel back on, lower the car back down, and then go get yourself an alignment. So it's pretty much that simple. It's really not a hard task. The hardest task is just getting those inner tie rods out, especially if yours were like mine and were super duper old and super duper locked in place and probably OEM. So alright, so the driver's side, like I said, is all done, just waiting up for the boot. And so I went ahead and did the passenger side, I'm sorry. But it's going to be the exact same thing. It's literally just use the tool, get the inner tie rod out, and then screw it all back in, and then just eyeball it. But yeah, pretty simple to do, honestly. Alright, and so just like that, it's as simple as that. I mean, like I said, it was really challenging for me because my inner tie rods were original, so my kit did not have the right size tool because it's a Honda tool, presumably. But yeah, it really wasn't too bad. I think all in all, minus me having to wait still for my boots to come in, it's probably a solid maybe hour and a half worth of work. And then, like I said, just go get yourself an alignment and you'll be good to go. As for me, I'm just going to eyeball it again, and then tomorrow I'm going to go align it. But yeah, it's pretty much that simple. It cost me to do the Master Pro joints roughly around $150 for all 4 joints and the boots. That's with no special pricing or nothing. So really not too bad to do, but figured I might as well make a video on it because I didn't know if the Integra was going to be a little bit different than the Civics or something. So If it helped you, please give it a thumbs up and please comment down below. And let me know what you guys want to see next. Also, let me know what you think of the dual angle, like the point of view and the long lens. Might try and orient that into more videos. But anyways, guys, yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and hope it helped out. And I'll see you for the next one. So, peace out.